Hey everyone, this is the LEGO Creator Modular Modern Home. It's a 3-in-1, meaning, as usual, there are 3 official builds, of which you can build only one at a time using the parts in one set. I'll start with the smallest, simplest build here, called the Garden Home, and I'll work my way up. This is almost more garden than home, with a lot of exterior space and a lot of planters and potted things. Out front of the main door is probably a small cypress tree, has a brick-built bird up on the top. This is supposed to be a garden gnome here. Clever, small little build, probably a solar-powered path light outside. And up against the side of the house is either a birdhouse or like a chicken coop or something. I'm not sure exactly what's supposed to live in there, or it could just be something just purely decorative. They have kind of a teeter-totter out here, which is a nice little build. It doesn't rock back and forth too much, but uses an axle piece with a couple of wheels in there with the tires removed. This device outside kind of looks like it's supposed to be a remote-controlled lawnmower, you know, like a robotic lawnmower, but I guess you could use this as the handle to use it with a figure. It just looks remote to me. Like I said, more garden than home. The house itself is pretty small, just has a very large window on one side, which is nice for a view from the inside to the garden that you've carefully built up. That's the main entrance door there, and up on the roof they've got kind of a small rooftop greenhouse area, which unfortunately doesn't have too much growing in it just yet. Just a couple of plants have grown and started to flower there. Around the back you get access to the interior, where it looks like, well, I guess that's actually a greenhouse here because it looks like there are plants growing inside. Either that or that is a large trimming from a plant that's been made. You know, you can take the roof off to let a little more light in there, but yeah, this could just be related to gardening even further, because over on the wall you've got looks like probably a water sprayer type of thing that you would pull out and use to just mist things, and some shears for trimming things up. So probably this is all intended to be garden related and not really part of a home, you know, just a detached structure in addition to a house. And then over here is where you would get your water from to water the yard, although the hose isn't very long. Now this does use the new modular system that they came up with for this summer, which allows you to remove some items, some sub-assemblies, so all of this comes off as one. And also this here at the front is also attached separately, so that can be brought around. If you want to turn the whole thing around this way, you can do that. This will now fit in from the other side just to change up the overall shape of things. And of course you can turn the roof section around however you want that to be done, but you know, it just easily allows you to turn things around without having to completely take things apart. This side over here can also be removed. There we go. Just put this over onto this side, make it a little bit of a longer build like that. And also this is a small module right here, which can be pulled off, and then that could be attached. Well, not there because they don't have the piece down here to attach that, but you could use this in place of one of the other parts. You could have the main door completely blocked off with those planters. That's not going to work very well, but you could put it over on this side if you want to. You can leave this out to give yourself a little bit more space, but you know, you're really limited. I mean, I'm trying here to make things work. I guess I could do this. Take this part of the planter box off and attach it there. But you know, with this small space, such a small build overall, you're limited in just how many things you can really do with that system. I feel like that modular system works best for larger structures, but you know, there's some stuff that you can do here to customize it. Just not as much as I would like to really make it worth the use of those parts. This next larger build is significantly more substantial. They call this the Lakeside house. So it's got kind of a pier right out front of it, and this is intended to be water that you walk right up to, and there's a duck there in the water. They also have a small canoe build, which minifigures can fit inside of, although you can see there's plenty of hole space, plenty of gap around the edges, so you really have to use your imagination there. This is supposed to be the oar set or a paddle. A couple of seats out front, although you can only use one of those at a time, or maybe just put a person right there in the center. Got some foliage out here, some plants that are growing, some flowering stuff. And this also has a little miniature observatory up on the roof with just a single telescope there, which can be angled around. This side is a little bit weird looking, kind of combining modern and rustic with the kind of, it's almost like they tried to make something 1970s modern, but then also have some log cabin elements to it as well. I don't know. It's a thing, I guess. Inside, mostly kitchen here. Most of this space here is just kitchen space with a basin style sink. I think that's supposed to be a stove oven combination there. And there's some sort of tool on the back which could be used for, I don't know what. You can figure that out for yourself. Over here, just a small table. Could that be a fire extinguisher or could that be a lamp? Like a camp light, I think. And then next to it is a radio. Now here again, you have the removable sections up top, so those can be swapped back and forth. Lets a little bit more light in, but it's also using the modular system, which allows you to pull this out over on this side. And on the other side, you can pull this out as well, this weirder looking thing, which is really just a window element. And then on this one, there's a window in front, actually, there we go, which is going to detach the base of that. I'll zoom out just a little bit. And this is connected over here, like so. There we go. So that's how that's done. Take this guy off. He was just kind of connecting those two. So now you've got these modules. There we go. So made it more linear, made it into a long building rather than wide. And it's covered up on this side and completely open on the other side. You also can use the pier as one of the modules as well, if you want to separate that out to place the water portion of it somewhere else. Like for instance, I could put that over here, but then, you know, you've got that window there. So how is the person supposed to get through there? I guess I could put it on the back, but yeah, once again, just limitations with the modules themselves, and you pretty quickly get to a point where you want to start taking things apart, which then reduces the usefulness of those modules in the first place. The main build is nicer as usual and has a lot of stuff going on with it. So this actually has some exterior space with some planted plants and topiaries out front. Has a nice lamp out here out front, although that might work a little bit better, a little bit closer to the main door. It has a charging bay for an electric car over here. So there's still the hose piece that we saw in the first build that is usable now. You could plug that in there and then plug it into the electric car, which is also included. I'll show you that in a minute. Got a brick-built dog here, could represent a pug or something. Got a radio-controlled helicopter with a control for it. This is a trampoline, which also works with that same modular system, just with this one piece over here. It's just doesn't have a good place to connect it right here. You could connect it to the charging outlet, but that just doesn't seem like a good idea to me to have it that close to an electrical outlet where kids are going to be playing. Nice balcony up here. That's good. They also bring in the shears with a clip to hold on to those for doing, you know, nice little work with the plants that are in the planter along the side there. Dark blue parasol piece is nice to get. That's definitely a birdhouse this time around. And you get a full second floor, as well as a roof, which is actually tiled over. And they call this thing on the top a solar skylight. Solar panels and or skylight or combination. This actually opens up like this, although they don't really have anything up on the roof for your figures to interact with. You start to see some of those, modules again along the sides, things that can be taken apart and moved around. And from the back, this is where it's open, of course, the walls, the interior space doesn't look all that great to me. You know, it's shaped up with some panel pieces, again, because of the modules and some different colors. They just have a sofa here and a chair. So a pretty straightforward family room, living room kind of arrangement, and that's supposed to represent a flat screen TV up on the wall. Upstairs, I already saw the exterior portion there, but they also have a full room that represents a bedroom. I'll just take this module off now because it's already starting to come off. A bedroom with two beds. and a light on the side, which I think is a fair use of this space. Would have been nice to have just one more detail maybe, but you know, it works. And then here's the electric car. Really, really basic, really, really small. Almost looks like a VW bus on the front with just the overall shaping of it. That's been really miniaturized down. So if you have any high expectations for a vehicle, this is probably going to let you down, but it's just a basic thing using parts that are available in the set that are also used for other things, and it just holds on to one person with a tiny bit of space for cargo in the back, I guess. Put a brick back there or something to represent a couple bags of groceries if you want, and there's the plug on the front of it with the jumper piece. So here are the modules for the main build, definitely the largest number of useful ones. Let me see if I can make something very different from them. So here's one attempt, and actually there was one additional module that I neglected to take out before, just one small window. Hopefully you can forgive me for that. But yeah, it's something. I used the trampoline module up on the top for the roof for the highest section, just because it had that nice large space that made for good coverage. Yeah, it's a different shape, but the whole thing to me doesn't look like it really goes together, even ignoring the trampoline on the roof. Doesn't look like it really fits together, like it has any consistent style to it or color scheme even. And I think that's kind of a theme for me throughout this entire set. All of the official builds, including different things that I could do with the modules, you know, rearranging things. Just none of it feels like it was intended to go together. It feels rather random to me personally. Here's a closer look at the two figures, and between these, I think my favorite parts are the legs, actually. The purple full-size legs and the dark azure short ones, just because those are fairly uncommon colors between the two. Not the rarest, but still just stuff we don't get very frequently. The same modular system is used across 3 of the building sets for this year, and you can combine all of those parts together to make a super large house, or a different super large house. Like, just put things together however you desire, but they're all compatible to make something bigger. Unfortunately, this set has failed to impress me. I like systems, I like the idea of the modular system here, but in this set, at this small scale, it feels like it just doesn't work all that well. It might actually be more the color scheme and the specific choices of parts and styles of elements or sub-assemblies that they've come up with versus the size. You know, maybe if it was a little bit more traditional or a little bit more consistent, it could have worked at this size. But just for me, none of these builds really look that great. You know, they don't really catch my eye. Nothing here just talks to me and says, you need to build this. Sorry. So that wraps up my thoughts on this one. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that even if you disagree with my opinions, I still was able to show you something useful in this video. If I was able to, then please come back to check out more of my videos, because more are always on the way. Talk to you again soon.